Haaland's crazy wage demands, Jose and Roma humiliated, Lyon pull off Europa League magic, and a transfer roundup all coming up in the next few minutes as I'm your host Matt Froelich. You are the One Footballers and this is the Daily News. So first up, and we move to Erling Haaland. The transfer rumours will continue to swirl whenever the transfer window is open, and sometimes when it's not, because he is the most wanted striker in the world. And whilst many clubs have an idea of how much they'll have to pay next summer when his release clause comes into effect, around 60 to 70 million pounds, it looks as though we now have a figure on his weekly wage, certainly what he will be demanding, and it is rather astonishing. And that astronomical number is 30 million pounds per year. That's over 600 grand per week, and that's going to get you the best striker in the world. Is it worth it? Well, considering there are some other players on some crazy money who score maybe not as many goals as Erling Haaland, then yeah, sure, why not? He's going to get whichever team he moves to a ridiculous amount of goals for a crazy number of years, and there are quite a few teams who are interested. We've heard Thomas Tuchel speak about potentially Haaland moving to Chelsea in the last few days. That apparently has annoyed Dortmund, because of course it would. There's also the likes of Barcelona, Manchester City and Manchester United interested as well, and they're going to have to fork out a ridiculous amount of money. Like I said before, the one team I can see him fitting into at the moment is Manchester City, because they don't have a number one out-and-out striker. Having said that though, it doesn't exactly stop them from finding the back of the net, so maybe Haaland isn't even needed at Manchester City. Of course, if a striker like that is available and a team can financially put the deal together to bring him to the club, every single team in Europe is definitely going to want to have him. What we do know is that he will be getting this deal at another club, because it doesn't look like Dortmund are going to be willing to break the bank and absolutely smash through all previous wage records to go ahead and sign him on that kind of deal. Next up then, to some football from last night, and Jose Mourinnho is not having a great time of it at Roma at the minute after they lost 6-1 in the Conference League to Bodo Glimt. 6-1. This is the highest defeat ever in Jose Mourinho's career, spanning 1,008 matches, and it's the biggest margin of defeat level with that 5-0 drubbing that his Real Madrid side got at Barcelona almost a decade ago. After the match in the press conference, Mourinho was, well, he admitted that the better team won on the night. That's all there was kind of to it. They were only 2-1 down at half time, and this was a rather weakened team. Mourinho said that he swapped in and out a few players to basically give the whole team the chance to play. Of course, this is a fate which also befell Tottenham last night as well, but we'll get onto that in just a little bit. Anyway, Roma were 2-1 down at half-time. Yes, a bit of an upset, but not the worst result in the world. They can definitely pull things back. But to go and concede 4 in the second half and lose 6-1 is absolutely shocking, especially considering that Roma were probably one of the favourites for the competition at the start. And talking of favourites for the competition, we've got Spurs as well. Normally, a 1-0 loss to Vitesse would be absolutely shocking. It is shocking. It just hasn't really made the headlines as much because, yeah, losing 6-1 is a little bit worse. In fact, it's almost 6 times worse. A very, very depleted Tottenham side which saw seniors in the starting lineup, but no other senior players on the bench. Well, it kind of all came crashing down, and those senior players in the starting lineup showed why they're playing on a Thursday night in the Conference League and not in the Premier League squad at the weekend. Nuno Espirito Santo has quite a bit of dead wood to get rid of for Spurs to build a stronger squad, not just a strong starting 11. This, of course, was not ideal for Spurs in the warm-up for their London derby at the weekend against West Ham, but on the flip side of it, the Hammers had a brilliant warm-up towards the game as they won 3-0 against Genk. Now this keeps them at 100% record in the competition at the moment. Although they maybe weren't the favourites at the beginning, on this kind of form, who knows, maybe there could be a surprise and we could see the Europa League heading to East London. It was another nervy first half, but towards the end of the first half and in the second half, they really turned on the style and came out 3-0 winners, and the same thing could be said for Napoli as well. A nervy first half followed by 3 second half goals meant that they set off the opposition quite comfortably. Despite this though, in the main game of the night was Sparta Prague against Lyon, where unbelievably a 4-3 victory for the French side, despite being down to 10 men, was seen in Prague, who actually went 2-0 up. There were 4 goals without reply from Lyon before a late goal kind of, well, threatened to derail things a little bit, but they managed to hold on, and it was an absolutely insane victory for the side. It means that the likes of Houssem Aouar and Carlo Toko Ekambi are back in the headlines and finding the back of the net, and who knows, maybe there's 1 or 2 more glances, because those two especially have been linked with a load of moves away from the club. Of course, scoring 1 goal is not exactly going to help your reputation, but certainly it was a big game. It made a lot of waves in Europe last night, and there's definitely going to be an eye or two in them over the weekend. Of course, scoring one goal in a game isn't exactly going to get you a transfer move, but after such a big victory last night, there's no doubt that there'll be a few teams keeping an eye on them over the weekend in the coming Lyon matches. Elsewhere, there were wins for Rangers, Braga, Frankfurt and Rapid Vienna as well, in what was turning out to be a rather interesting competition this season. Right then, we'll move next to the transfer roundup, and Everton are reportedly willing to offer Jesse Lingard a way out of Manchester United in January. Fabrizio Romano has confirmed that there is nothing going on between Manchester United and Ajax over the return of Donny van de Beek. Out of contract midfielder Jack Wilshere said he's interested in the move to the MLS with David Beckham's Inter Miami. And lastly but not least, for the ridiculous Newcastle rumour of the day, Porto winger Luis Diaz is apparently gaining some interest from those on Tyneside, and they could be willing to pay his €80 million release clause. Surely they can go to Porto and talk to them about some other figures before they reach the last resort of 80 million. That has to be last resort. Can't they go in with like 40, 50, I don't know, talk about it first before going insane. Anyway, that seems to be the way that might happen in the transfer window for Newcastle. But finally, we come to Friday Feels. This is where you guys do your footballing predictions in the comment section down below. We read out a few of the correct ones on Monday. First off, the biggest game in the Premier League this weekend is at Old Trafford as Manchester United host Liverpool. And given United's recent form, given Liverpool's recent form, I think Jurgen Klopp's side are just going to edge this one in a 2-1 victory. In Italy, I think we're going to see Juventus really make a big statement this weekend as they travel to face Inter Milan. It's going to be a clean sheet and a 1-0 victory for Max Allegri's side. And lastly but not least, in France, we have Olympique Marseille hosting PSG, and I think it's going to be a stunning 3-2 victory in an entertaining game for Mauricio Pochettino's side. That's all from me there. Make sure you stick around for loads more OneFootball content.